Hi, how are you?
I'm good. And you?
Good. I'm doing well, thank you. It's a nice sunny day over here, but it's kind of cold and windy. What's the weather like over there?
Uh, I think it was raining earlier.
Oh, fun.
A bit cloudy today.
Well, maybe that's good because then you're not spending the lesson wishing you were outside.
Maybe.
That's what I get like in the summer when I used to be at work and I could see the beautiful blue skies and the sun, and I just wish I was outside. All right then, so we have the questions to carry on working through with you. And so still got all the notes that I made with them as well. So we could have you actually answer some more of the similar questions. I'm not going to go through the same ones. But we're going to go straight into actually some of the questions that require long answers. But first, we'll probably talk about a couple of things just to get you warmed up.
Okay.
So I won't throw you straight into the deep end today. Yet. Okay, so advertising. Describe the attitudes of the Vietnamese people towards adverts or advertisements. No, not Vietnamese, Thai.
Well, okay. Well, obviously, advertising is quite a big part of business here in Thailand. It's a way to spread the word about new products or any existing products that people might be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say advertising brings more customers to many businesses. Yeah.
Great. No, that's a really good, strong answer. What you could also talk about is what different kinds of advertisements you can have. So, for example, then you could say, I see lots of advertisements, even just on my way to school, on the sides of buses, on billboards, in my magazine, on the TV when I come home, etc., etc. So think up some examples for me for the next time, okay?
Okay.
And maybe you could also as well share your opinion. You could say, I think the best advertisements that I pay the most attention to are ones that are funny, or ones that have really good catchphrases, or ones with a song that sticks in your head. So maybe talk about your own personal experiences and your opinions on advertising. Because one thing I like about this is describe the attitudes of the people towards advertisements. So you're not only talking about advertisements, but you're also talking about the attitude, the general attitude towards them. Maybe some people in Thailand find them frustrating or annoying. Maybe some people stream TV as opposed to watching live TV because they don't want to have to watch advertisements. I know that they do that in Britain. And I do it too. But then, for example, in America, advertisements are sometimes part of the whole experience of watching something. So, for example, the Super Bowl, when there's that big event every year, right? And in the commercial breaks, that's when they decide, these big companies bring out these fantastic cinematic adverts to really capture your attention, right? So there you go. So that's a couple of pointers for that. Your grammar is excellent. You're clear and concise as usual. So I don't have any feedback for that. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of advertisements?
Well, for sure, the advantages of advertisement would be for businesses to spread their word about their new products and stuff. But obviously, it comes with disadvantages. Many people might get annoyed when they see advertisements playing on the TV over and over again. And sometimes it's just annoying in general when you see advertisements, on buses or BTS station and many things like that.
Yeah, okay. What might they find annoying about it?
Well, obviously, if the same commercial plays over and over again, it gets a bit annoying.
Yeah, so the repetition.
Yeah.
It must be frustrating, especially if it's a song that is very annoying. Very cheesy. Okay, great. Good. That's a good answer, definitely. Do advertisements create a need that wouldn't otherwise exist? That's a bit of a tough one, but you can do it.
Could you repeat that, please?
Okay. Do advertisements create a need that otherwise wouldn't exist?
A need that wouldn't exist. So, do you mean the feeling of wanting something that you don't need? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the modern days, commercials are becoming more persuasive. One might say, for example, video games and other entertainment products. Kids might find them so persuasive that it becomes a need rather than a want. So, yeah, that's my view on it.
Fantastic. Maybe you could come up with an example too. Like, I don't know, for me, could say I used to have a Samsung phone, and then I saw the advertisements for Apple everywhere. And I really, all of a sudden, wanted an iPhone, and I've never turned back since. But I don't think I necessarily needed an iPhone, especially as everybody has proven already that actually Android phones seem to do better than iPhones. So maybe talk about your own experiences and your opinion as well as others.
Okay.
True story. I wish I liked an Android phone, but I'm shamefully addicted to my iPhone. All right then. So, what products are advertised a lot on TV in Thailand?
Oh. Coming from a person who doesn't watch that much TV, I think that beverages take up the most on the commercial industry in Thailand. There are many kinds of beverages being advertised, such as coffee, soda, such as Pepsi and Coke, even juice, orange juice. It comes on a lot. Yeah.
Great. That's good. You could probably talk a little bit as well about the product placement, which is a good, I think that would be quite good to be able to kind of show off about what you know about product placement. For example, in a movie, when Vin Diesel might be drinking a can of Coca-Cola. Another famous Hollywood star is using their Apple Mac computer. And so product placement, when an item on sale is being used as a prop in an advertisement for something else, or in a movie or a TV show, product placement, that's another way of advertisement as well. So you can't really get away from it, even when you're watching a show.
Okay.
Product placement. Okay. So how far do people in your country believe the ads? How much do they believe about the ads?
Well, seeing that the commercials in Thailand are a bit, how would you say it? Like, not exactly realistic.
Right.
Many people
So they're
in
a bit
Thailand.
crazy and dramatic.
Yes, and
Right.
therefore not many
Exaggerated, you
people.
could say. Let
Yeah,
me write some of these down for you.
exaggerate.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, dramatic. You could also say fictional, so made up, like sci-fi. Well, that's open to opinion, I suppose. Sci-fi might be true. Dramatic, fictional, exaggerated. That might be a very good word.
Yes, commercial in Thailand, they seem more exaggerated. Therefore, not many people choose to believe. However, it's still effective because they choose famous celebrities in Thailand to play in the commercial. Therefore, many people seem to be persuaded.
Yeah. Okay, so as well as therefore, you could think of other phrases just to avoid saying that too many times. Even though that is that is a really, really good connective, a really good phrase to use. But try other words like thus, and gosh, at the top of my head, I can't think of them either. So 1 second, see if I can find some. So therefore, synonyms. So you've got consequently, for that reason, as a result, thus, that being so, on that account. I'll send all these to you. Paste. There you go. Synonyms. I mean, you're already very good at that. I'm just thinking that you could do with adding more. And there are lots. Wow. Okay. There you go. Learn something new every day. And yeah, that was really good. And also you said famous celebrities. That's kind of, saying, hot heat. You either need to say famous people or celebrities, because the actual word for celebrity is a well-known person who is famous. But that's just a teeny tiny thing that I'm picking up on you for.
Okay.
Try not to as well to say things like stuff and things. You can, but try your best to be a little bit more formal.
Okay.
Which is kind of hard. And you can hear with me, I say a lot and I know that you are better at that and you don't say and as much as I do. But I just think if you say and stuff or and things, it sounds a little bit like you're floundering a little bit, and or that it can even just mean that you're not sure or show a lack of confidence, or even that you're at a loss for words. And I know that you have a very good vocabulary, a wide range of vocabulary. And so in doing so, see, because I'm thinking about it now, I keep saying it. But you need to show off your vocabulary and show a confidence in yourself so that the examiner comes to expect even more excellent words and phrases from you, because that is what he or she will receive. All right, so next section. How important are ads in your society?
Well, for Thailand, advertisements are quite a big deal, one might say, because, well, it is the way for economy to grow, for businesses to get their products, the words of their products spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's a tough one because you just want to say a way that they can advertise their products, and you're like, no. Right? Yeah, no. So you've got a way for companies to. That doesn't quite work. You probably would want to say a way in which a company can do something. A way in which. Because for, you could say a way to show something, etc., etc. And you're saying it's important in your society as a way a company can spread the word, as you said. Yeah, spread the word. A way in that they can show people their product and push sales. That's another way you can say as well, pushing sales. So to increase sales. Right then, so yeah, you're doing really well. I'm just thinking of different other different phrases that you can use. So like a way in which I can speak to somebody, or a way for us to share, or a thing for us to share would be an item for us to share, an object for us to think about. It's tough, but sometimes it's just the way something sounds. The more you know about it, the more you speak, the more you listen, the more you hear. Unfortunately, with English, sometimes we just say, yeah, that doesn't make sense, and it's very difficult to explain. Crazy. But we will work on it together. All right, so the next section is going to be a different subject, make it a little bit more interesting for you. The teaching of science in schools. Exciting.
That's what I was thinking of before you said it.
Really?
Yeah, I knew like a topic about technology was going to come.
Coincidence? I think not. It's just a question that comes up a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay then. So this one is requires a very varied response, which is good. You can choose however way you want to answer this one. So, how is science taught in schools today?
Well, for Thailand, science is taught mostly verbally, not physically, like how I think they used to be. And it's kind of based on theories these days. Like a teacher just stands up and just lectures the whole class instead of letting us do experiments and letting us find out ourselves what will happen next or the results of something. So yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe it's because maybe the resources is scarce.
Scarce?
Yeah, scarce.
That's a good word to use though, scarce, yeah. I know it's spelt scarce, which is very, very odd, but it is scarce. Yeah. Might be different in an American accent, so maybe it's just me and my English accent.
I don't know either. Don't use this word often.
It's good to use though, so keep that in there. Yeah, so you came up with an example but you didn't explain the example. So you said, it's taught verbally as opposed to physically. So and then you actually went on to explain verbally, and you said, they just stand up at the front of the class and lecture. You say physically, they don't demonstrate us, they don't use apparatus, they don't take us out on trips or show us things. So when you make a point, you need to back it up with evidence or an example. And so you notice as well how I asked you a question on the end of that, because I felt like you could have added more to it. So I said, why do you think that is? So when you make a point, you also need to explain why you think that, if it's your opinion, or if you're explaining a point that somebody else does, so other people may do this, I think it's because of that, or it has been proven because of this, or this happens nowadays. And also the keyword today in this question as well suggests that you could talk about another time opposed to today. So you could say, maybe when you're saying we don't have as many resources, perhaps there is less money that the government is putting into education than they used to. So lots of different ways to answer that question and add on to it and make it a more complex statement. Complex is a good word, actually. So complex would be another word for, complex statement. So that's actually like a compound statement or a complex. So that would mean something like a more complicated, but in a good way. That is a complex situation. Or that question's a little difficult. That's quite complex. Or a complex answer is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot in it. Okay, good. Do you think the methods of teaching could be improved?
Well, yes, partly. One of the ways to improve the method of teaching science in school would probably be for governments to pretty much care more about it and invest in it a little bit more, so that they can care more about how students are learning in school and the teacher's method of teaching, so that they can make sure the students are getting the information they need. Yeah.
Good. I was just getting you to be more specific, because when you say it and things and stuff, very general. Okay, that's perfect. All you needed to say was if the government cares more about students learning, or this subject, or if they care more about, and maybe refer back to maybe some of the terminology in the question that they've asked you. Good answer though. Very nice. If you were in charge of initiating new methods of teaching,
oh my gosh,
what improvements would you like to make?
Well, first of all, I would increase experiments so that the students can learn,
increasing experiments, increasing the size of experiments, increasing the amount of experiments,
increasing the quality, the size, the amount of the experiment.
Fantastic.
So that students can receive the skills from self-centered learning, which is quite a big skill in life, and which would extend to something more than science.
Explain a little bit to me what self-centered learning is.
Self-centered learning to me is learning by doing, and not just sit and receive information.
Fantastic. Because I think when you describe somebody as self-centered, or someone as self-centered, that's generally perceived as a negative
Oh,
thing.
right. Okay. Yeah,
When someone is self-centered, they may be perceived as only looking at themselves and thinking and caring about themselves and struggling to look outward at other people and other things. So maybe you could say self-learning would be fine, but not centered.
Self-learning. Okay.
So that's just a little bit in the wrong context.
Yeah, maybe I was thinking of another word which I can't it doesn't come to my mind, so I try to find another word to replace.
That's totally fine. I totally understand that. So that's why I'm helping you with words that you can't quite find the thing for. So that's no problem. I appreciate you trying to find other words because, of course, you're not going to have me to or anybody else to correct you when you're answering the question. They can get the general gist from that and understand what you're trying to say. But I'm just being a perfectionist because I know you're very, very good. And we want you to maintain this level of excellence. So I'm pushing excellence out of you. And, right, so back to the next question. So how far do you think the use of high-tech equipment, there we go, technological question, in schools can really promote the standards? So how far do you think the use of high-tech equipment in schools can really promote the standards?
All right. So it can be seen even now that technology is improving the quality of the method of learning. And also my school has a smart board, which allows you to write on documents, on presentations, and many things like that. And well, personally, I believe that it's way more effective than writing on the whiteboard while you're trying to present a presentation. And
fantastic.
That basically increases the convenience of teaching and also learning.
So it makes teaching and learning more convenient.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, that was excellent. Good job. I like how you said personally. I like how you gave examples. You described, you used your own experience. You talked about the smart boards. You said what it's better than. So you said as opposed to, or, I think it's better than just doing this or that. So that was really, really good answer. Excellent, complex answer. So the next question is, how important do you think the computer is in education today? Are there any subjects that computers cannot teach today?
Whew. Okay. So it's like a 2-question thing.
Yes.
Okay. So, well,
I think the second question is just prompting you a specific part of an answer, basically. So
okay.
How important? The main question is, how important do you think the computer is in education today? But it's also asking you to give examples, which you probably would have done anyway without that prompt. But are there any subjects that computers cannot teach today?
Okay. So in my perspective, computer is quite important in the modern style of education, as to the convenience and many other things. I'm saying it again.
That's okay.
However,
it's okay if you do use it. That's totally fine. I was just calling attention to you using it. If there's a possibility that you can use something else instead of that, then use it. But you're not gonna lose marks or anything like that by saying it.
Okay.
I was just thinking of ways that you can improve it.
However,
so try starting that answer again.
Okay. personally, I think that computer is quite an important aspect in the modern style of teaching, mainly because it is convenient. However, there are limits to using computer for education, as computer is a type of technology that can't exactly express emotions. So that meaning that they can't teach drama like how a human would. They can't express emotions or any other things, such as innuendos. Yes.
Yes. Good word, good example. I mean, Siri, I think, makes a good joke sometimes. But I think school kids and Siri would not work well together. I'd probably ask her to rap for you or something. That was good. I like how you used innuendo. I like the point of the smile to the camera too. That the examiner might find that quite funny. You never know. Might be a humorous examiner. I actually said to another student as well, actually, that as long as if you make a joke, as long as it works as part of the answer, then that's totally fine. And as long as it makes sense, then go for it. Your use of humor is also an aspect of the language. So, for example, I asked a student the other day about what the climate is like where he lives. And he said, we used to have 4 seasons: cold, rainy, warm, and windy. And he says, now it's hot, very hot, extremely hot, and too hot. I like that. I said, yeah, good job. Because he answered it, right?
Yeah.
I just thought I'd share that with you because it did make me laugh. Okay, so on to the next question. Gosh, we have got through quite a lot already, which is impressive. Right. Healthiness. This is another one that we know a lot about or go into a lot. So how have the Thai people changed their attitudes towards keeping healthy?
Okay. So in the past, Thai people weren't exactly into being healthy. However, in the modern days, the government increased the awareness and convinced people to exercise more, as to this is the reason why we have so many marathons these days, and also cycling events.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like that. You know what? I like your use of vocabulary for things when you talk about persuasive or convinced. You said the government convinced the Thai people to do this and that. Again, excellent use of language and to show off your knowledge of different words. So when in your free time or in your study time, keep looking for synonyms. I think a good idea for you might be, if you don't already do it, is have a word of the day every day.
Oh. Okay.
And when you are learning, when you're doing kind of lessons like this with me, try and fit that word in once at least. And also take that opportunity to look up synonyms and other words that you can use instead of that word. I think you would do really well with that. I bet you can find an app that just gives you a random word every day. And I think that would be really helpful to you. All right, so that's my 2 cents. All right, so this one is a loaded question, but it's good. Get your opinions. Should dangerous sports such as boxing, bullfighting, and wrestling be banned by law?
Well, considering those extreme sports mentioned, they are a part of a country's tradition. For example, boxing would be a part of Thai's tradition. Bullfighting would be a part of the Spanish tradition. Even though they're dangerous, I believe that they should stay how it is. They should stay how it is, and they shouldn't ban it. Only because it's a way to express the traditional side of a country.
Great. Think of other words for tradition.
Culture.
Great. Another one?
I don't
I
know.
can give you a word. Got custom. So having different customs.
Tradition. Custom like custom.
Yeah. You could say also a practice.
APPRACTICE.
Yep.
Okay.
I like how you're asking for the spellings as well, because I'm not just going to give them to you unless you ask me.
Okay.
It's good. I'm going to try and get you to spell them yourself, and then you can ask, but I'm not going to spell them out for you. Ritual.
Okay, I know that one.
And probably ceremony. That won't always fit, as well as culture, customs, traditions, etc. But you could say ceremonial as well, as a way to describe something.
Okay.
Okay. So when you feel in classes with me and with other lessons, you feel yourself repeating certain words because you can't find another one, just write it down. Or I will probably pick up on it, but it's a good idea to write down and then research synonyms for that. So that answer was great, but you said traditions quite a few times. Which is fine. Good practice for saying traditions. Also in that answer, you could probably create a counter argument. So whether you agree with it or not, you could say, however, some people, such as animal rights activists, may feel that bullfighting is entirely unfair for the bull. And it's perhaps outdated and encourages tourists, but in the wrong light. And some may also feel like boxing and wrestling is too violent and sets a bad example for children watching the sport. And then you can show off your synonyms for however, or on the other hand, comparatively.
Okay.
Great. You're doing really, really great. I know I'm being tough on you, but that's because you're so excellent. You need even more toughness to get to the next level. Otherwise, you'll get complacent and stay at the same level. Sorry, can you still hear me with that in the background?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right then. So this is slightly different now, talking about farmers and farming in Thailand. So, what difficulties might Thai farmers have concerning their old age?
Okay. Well, farmers might face how do you call it, like diseases
Or
due
illnesses?
to illnesses due to the weakened immunity that they might have.
Or the I see what you mean. The not immunity, immune system. Yes. So
Okay, the
immunity means it repels something, or if someone is immune to disease, it means that they don't get diseases. Their body fights it off. But immune system is the part of their body that fights off these diseases and illnesses. So a weakened immune system is what you're trying to say, I think.
Yes.
No problem. Keep going.
So when they get older, they might face weakened immune system, which would lead to many diseases and illnesses, which as a result would cause less productivity.
Yeah. And might affect their work
and income.
Good job. Also, it could be another example. So I can give you an example of someone who answered this question.
Okay.
When they actually talk about in relation to specifically Thai farmers or from a different country. So they're talking about their own government. This is actually a question to someone about Vietnamese farmers. So I don't know if it's the same in Thailand, but anyway. So their answer was, until now, there has been no retirement insurance for the farmers. They have to make sure that their children can support them in their old age. That's why they want as many children as possible, especially sons. So that shows specifically the problems that old age farmers have in Vietnam. And also then that shows the solutions that they have to come up with. And also an extra bit of information there to say, they want lots of children. This is why. Or maybe this is one of the reasons why. I liked your answer because it was talking about their old age specifically, and that can apply to farmers across the world. So you could definitely use that. And then you could say, additionally, in Thailand specifically, farmers in their old age may struggle with this or with that. Or actually, you could even just say, I don't think farmers over here have a problem because they do have support from this system and this system.
Okay.
Right, so it's about your opinion, what you know about it, and if you don't know too much about it, make it up. I have no idea. All good. Okay, so what do you think can be done to solve this problem with their immune systems?
Well, okay. So to maybe strengthen the farmer's immune system a little bit more, the government could send out nurses or doctors to the rural area to take care of them or give them vaccines or the vitamins they might need and that they don't have. So, yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's good. It's a good short-term solution. And you can explain that as that. You say, a short-term solution could be that the farmers have received more medical help from the government in order to be able to do their jobs. And then if you like, for extra points, brownie points, you could come up with perhaps a sustainable solution. So sustainable is a good word to describe something that can last a long time. Did you ever hear of the saying, if you give a man a fish, he can eat for a day. If you give a man the skills to fish, he can eat for a lifetime.
Never heard of it.
So which in that is the short-term solution? The fish or the skills to fish?
The fish.
There you go.
Yeah.
And the sustainable solution is to teach him how to fish. I think that's a very good phrase kind of saying. One of the few I know. And so, for example, maybe you could say, I mean, this isn't necessarily to do with the grammar, but if I share some of this with you, then you know I can give you an insight into another part of the answer, perhaps. So, a sustainable solution could be that the government puts money into training younger people as farmers to be employed by the farmers to take over when the farmers can no longer work, such as with internships, apprenticeships, etc. And I think they'd be very impressed by your knowledge of short-term solutions and sustainable solutions. And I remember learning about that at school, actually, you know, when in science, or, you know, you would talk about oil being a short-term fuel to be used because eventually we will run out of oil. However, solar energy, as long as the sun is in the sky, that is a sustainable fuel source. Right, I'm going to stop boring you with sustainability. All right, so on to the next question. And again, this is about health. What is the birth control situation in the cities in Thailand?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
Good start to the answer, though, if you need some time.
Phew, that's a hard question. So for Thailand, as far as I know, there are many rape crimes, and people. Well, the law says that the methods of birth control is kind of affecting the society negatively. Sorry. So therefore, the birth control aspect? No.
Situation?
The birth control situation in Thailand isn't exactly being taken care of.
Right.
That was hard.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, no, that is tough. It's tough to answer a difficult question on the spot like that as well. When you're trying different ways to explain it. A lot of rape crimes. Yeah, I think that is fine, actually. Or crimes of rape. Or situations where women are raped. Yeah, that's a very sensitive subject too, so that's a tough one. But I think that was a good answer for what you were trying to get across. You could also add on to the end of that how it could be improved. So you've told me the problems, and now you could give me your opinion on what they could do differently in Thailand. Could you share that with me?
Could you repeat that, please?
No problem. So, we said you told me the birth control situation in the cities. What could they do to improve on this situation?
Well, first of all, I think that they could raise a bit more awareness and also support the use of birth control pills and also giving out information as a way to raise awareness as well.
Fantastic. Good. So, the question only asks you to explain the birth control situation, but as always, it's great if you add on to it. So, as I asked you that question to get you to give me a little bit more information on that subject. Okay, and one more question, and then I think we're done for the day. I quite enjoy our lessons. I don't enjoy picking apart stuff, but that's my job, I suppose. All right then, so these are very loaded questions for sure. Last one then. What do you think of the one couple, one child policy in China?
Whoa, okay. Well, as China have quite a lot of as in high amount of population, I believe that it's a good way to keep track of the population and as to the quality of life for the children. So the less children they have, personally, I think that the less children that